as that way.
Okay, this presentation is going to have probably more symbols than you're used to. And in the middle, it's going to really kind of tell what the why I'm putting in these symbols. So right now, just think of like the cross as like the symbol number one, and think of like what that means to you. Obviously, this cross here, there's no like Jesus, crucified on it. Like in certain, I don't know, hundreds of years, that was like the main symbol, and then the red symbolizing like the finished work, the blood of Jesus. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into how and why light has overcome darkness, if that's if that's how you see it. So I'm going to give a couple perspectives. Here's perspective number one. Two girls talking about the sound of this generation.
What about music?
When you study how God created Satan, he literally, part of his makeup was musical instruments. And when he fell, God didn't change his makeup. So everything that Satan has, he would utilize for his kingdom. But why did God create him like that? Because there's something about sound that it invites things from a spiritual perspective. Like that's why there are times where there are certain musicians who will say things like, in order for them, like some of their best hits, they did it while they were drunk. While they were high. Because what did that do? It opened them as a vessel for demonic spirits to actually sing through them, to give them lyrics. Because when we think about demons, we think that demons are just this ugly looking creatures that torment you, just want to scare you. But there's this mystery the Bible shows us about when it talks about how there would be doctrine of demons. That means demons teach. They want to teach you how to live according to the kingdom of darkness. They want to teach you how to live in a way that pleases their master, Satan.
What about music?
Okay, so what they were talking about obviously is dualism. And I'm sure everybody here has had their own experiences or perspectives or ideas on what dualism is. So let's read the top paragraph. The concept of God versus Satan and the struggle between good and evil can be seen as a form of dualism, particularly within the context of Christian theology and some other belief systems. Pretty much we can all agree upon that's dualism, that is basically Satan and God either fighting and trying to win the earth or trying to get more people, or else this is actually a belief that I am more prescribed to, which is the next paragraph. This dualism, however, is not necessarily a perfect eternal balance. Satan, in many Christian traditions, is not seen as an eternally equal and opposite force to God, but rather as a created being who rebelled and represents evil. That, I think, gives a Christian or a Christ follower more confidence, saying that, okay, Satan was created, and he's not at the same level as God. God's like way up here, and Satan's way down here, and so it gives us, power to overcome the earth. So that's actually the perspective that I was taught. But I want to give another perspective, and this is about darkness. What is the relationship between darkness and light? Has light overcome darkness, or are they in balance with each other? So this is about a different system that instead of it being like demons and principalities and doctrines, this system is about, I'll just put it, the yin and yang instead of dualism.
On and off system. As the Chinese say, it's the yang and the yin. And therefore it consists of now you see it, now you don't. Here you are, here you aren't, here you aren't. Because that's the very nature of energy, to be like waves, and waves have crests and troughs. Only we, being under a certain kind of sleepiness or illusion, imagine that the trough is going to overcome the wave or the crest. The yin, the dark principle, is going to overcome the yang or the light principle, and that off is finally going to triumph over on. And we, shall I say, bug ourselves by indulging in that illusion. Gee, supposing darkness did win out, wouldn't that be terrible? And so we're constantly trembling and thinking that it may, because after all, isn't it odd that anything exists?
Isn't it odd that anything exists? So now we start to question. So you're out, we're beyond dualism, we're into a little bit of the yin and yang, and I want to go more into it. But first I want to ask some questions. Like, if we're stuck in dualism, there's this anxiety. What if we lose? What if I die and I go to hell? With darkness, it is negativity and chaos, the unknowable. I'm reading the slide. Being able to discern what's up. Hold on, let me move it a little bigger for me. There you go. Okay. The unknowable, not being able to discern what's up ahead in our journey. Insecurity and uncertainty, not knowing what's up ahead. That, to me, that's overwhelmingly not just ignorant, but also anxiety. And I think all of us have experienced that darkness at some stage in our life. So what's the problem of the cross? I mean, the cross represents life. It represents resurrection and beauty, and it's a great, nice little like gold thing that you can wear on your neck. And it has changed over the basically the centuries. You know, where's Jesus anymore? The Catholic cross, you have him crucified on the cross. But I think the problem with the cross of our culture, and this is my opinion, there is fear. There is fear. What if we do lose? There is fear of judgment, of me not making it on this earth and not going to heaven, but going to hell. And I think there's also an element of control, of that competition. You know, Satan and God are fighting each other. Who's in control? Same with on the earth, as above, so below. There's if I'm on my job or I'm in politics, there's this control factor, this competition factor. That's this worldly system of I think this perspective of duality. Really, that's the problem, and the problem of how we view the cross. But what does the Bible actually say regarding light and darkness? In him was life, in John 1, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And another word for overcome, it says comprehend it or understand it. So the darkness has not comprehended the light. So when you're in the dualism, you're not really on the winning side, because the light or the darkness does not understand the light. And the mystery is, what if the light understands the darkness? What if with the light you can navigate the darkness? And so what I'm going to do now is get a bigger perspective using of course the hero's journey. The power of symbols. I got to go faster. A genuine symbol unites unlike or opposite things, kind of like Aslan's way, where paradoxes come into unity, in a way that reveals the underlying unity of life, but also reveals the levels of reality. When most levels of nature and culture simultaneously manifest disruptive symptoms, we have a greater need for symbols that can remind us of the origins of life, which are always nearby and able to be tapped for the energies of healing and renewal. So I started off with the cross, and now I'm going the hero's journey. And what it looks like here, if we use Jesus as the archetype, as the model, as he was goes through the threshold of being baptized in the Jordan River, and he has the Holy Spirit is his mentor, advocate, and he comes down. There's no better proof this stage here that there's a birth and death, and there's actually a resurrection, and there's no better proof of Jesus being resurrected. And obviously, when he came back to earth, when he returned to earth as a person. People saw him. And actually, he's also returned to us here in this day and age. And that's why we believe that Jesus is the symbol of the, basically, of the hero's journey. And I want to put another symbol that I've found that I love, because this is a sign for alchemy. And there's actually, I've never seen a negative connotation or negative perspective of the word alchemy. Really means turning base metal into gold. Let's see. It's interesting how each of these shapes represent something. For instance, you've got the circle, which is heaven, the square, which is earth, and the triangle, which is obviously the human, physical, intellectual, mental human. And I also think it's really interesting that why I like the symbol and playing with it is because this circle here of unity or heaven, it actually starts over here. And you can even here in this circle, you can draw another triangle, square, and a triangle. And it could go on and on and on, kind of like the hero's journey. It goes on and on. It's not supposed to be one destination. You're supposed to go through and you're supposed to return to it and you start your whole journey over again and again. So that's kind of what this symbol I found. And this is kind of a mysterious thing where it says the context of 1 + 3 = 1. That's like a big deal. And what it means here is it's a combination of the square and circle and triangle. And let's see. Can't read it because you guys are in the way. All right. The equation could be interpreted symbolically where the 1 represents the initial state. And then the 3 could be the 3 principles or stages or shapes in the alchemical process. And the 1 alchemy represents the final transformed state or the culmination of the process. And this is another way to remember it is, this is mainly for Josh, 1 + 1 = 3, which is the power of community. So when you have a whole person and another whole person that's gone through the transformation and the hero's journey, there's synergy. And in that synergy, there's shared goals. So that 1 alchemy could represent the transformative power of unity and purpose. Let's see. I will actually end on, let me check. I have one more video. And this video is a different perspective. So you've got the dualism, and you've got the cross, and alchemy, and I also got the hero's journey, and I've got, let's see.
What does it mean? Well, the Tao.
This is interesting. I have to share it because it's kind of cool. Star Wars, you know how they have all these Star Wars after the first 3, and that's really long ago. But this Star Wars here, look, if you look at the symbol, it's almost like completely like the Yin and Yang, and it's balance. That's really what the Yin and Yang is about. It's about light, dark, and balance. True. So they line up. One is no greater than the other. Together they unite, restore, recenter, and renew. We walk into the light and acknowledge the dark and find balance within ourselves. And this is the old Jedi mantra that appears in Dooku the movie. Jedi Lost seems to line up with the dawn. I just accidentally found this and I thought it was amazing because it's just like the yin and the yang symbol, the balance that is a different worldview than the light versus darkness. And then here's one more. This is, I didn't understand Carl Jung until I found this symbol of the conscious and the unconscious, and in the middle is the bridge, the subconscious. So you've got what you're aware of, the conscious, and then unconscious, what you're not aware of. And it's interesting that when they're talking in the Christian spiritual sense, we talk about demons and doctrines and evil. It's almost like that darkness is part of us, part of our unconscious. But yet, Carl Jung was able to expand the maps to the point where we might be able to understand that. So instead of being demons, they're hanging out in the unconscious. It could be archetypes. It could be our shadow. It could be something that might not necessarily be so bad, but darkness that can be able to be transformed through light, through our practice, through our spiritual practice, through our study, through our devotion. So the good news and I forgot to say that in alchemy, is that we can change darkness into light. That's what alchemy really is, spiritual alchemy. So I think it's all a positive idea. Okay. And then I've got one more video. So this is perspective number 3. And the same guy that talked about what is existence, this is his voice, and someone made a quick video segment of this.
Every one of us is an aperture through which the whole cosmos looks out. You see, it's as if you had a light covered with a black ball, and in this ball were pinholes, and each pinhole is an aperture through which the light comes out. So in that way, every one of us is actually a pinhole through which the fundamental light, that is the existence itself, looks out. Only the game we're playing is not to know this.
Therefore, that what you call the external world is as much you as your own body. Your skin doesn't separate you from the world, it's a bridge through which the external world flows into you, and you flow into it. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. And when you find that out, you laugh yourself silly.
Journey of purpose. When I saw that, I thought, what is existence? Like I'm starting to ask myself questions that break my mind out of that duality and join me more closer to the yin and yang, which I didn't share that symbol, but that symbol is like 2000. They've seen it like 3rd century BC. They've got proof of the actual yin and yang. And who are we really? Like I like that. We're light. And we've got these ideas, about existence, about reality, and how do we find the truth? Well, the Bible has the answer, and I'll end up on this verse. It says here in John chapter 15. I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. So in this verse, Jesus is speaking to his disciples, assuring them that abiding in his love and keeping his commands leads to complete and lasting joy. I would say victory, where we have the joy of the Lord inside us. And so questions for you is, do you know the joy of the Lord? And another question, might I add, is during the conversation maybe, what do you think about the yin and the yang? Like either the symbol or what it represents. I don't affiliate the Tao, which is the way, with Taoism, which is where it comes from, but I affiliate it with Jesus, who in John 14:6 says, he is the way, truth, and the life. And there is a way of living that is just out of this world. I hope I did a little bit on you to give you some ideas and then maybe ask yourself questions. That's it.
Join our next gathering. For the date and time, check out aslansway.com.